In this video, I'm going to do something a little bit different than I normally do. Normally, I'm sharing with you tech tips on your iPhone or your iPad, how to buy a laptop, how to fix PC problems, all those kind of things. Rather than do that, though, I'm going to tell you about one of my bucket list items, and that was getting a drone and then what it took to fly it. So if that's something that interests you, stay tuned. So let's take a look at the package I have. Now, as any good techie would be, when you get a fancy thing like a drone, you want to have the best accessories to go with it. And one of the first purchases that I made with this was this hardbound or hardback case. If you look on Amazon, and I'll put a description in the description section of this video, it has different cutouts on the inside for different drones, and I got the one for the DJI Mini 4 Pro. So it was customized to put the components in that I got in my Mini 4 Pro combo pack that I purchased. So let's open it up and take a look at it. So there you go. You can see the case has got the nice foam that holds all this stuff in place, and each of these cutouts for the different components that we'll talk about here, that's the way it came. So didn't have to modify this at all when I got it. So what did I get when I purchased the drone from DJI? As I mentioned, it was the combo, and in that you get the drone itself, the controller, and a set of batteries. So let's take a look at these just in general here. Here's the drone, and it may surprise you how small it is, and we'll open it up here in a little bit. Very small, and one of the things I noticed with this drone, which I think is a real advantage, particularly when you're flying around people, is that once it gets up to about 50 feet, it's very hard to see unless you're really looking for it, and it's hard to even hear. You get up higher than that, and unless you're paying attention really closely, it's hard to pick it up in the sky unless it's pretty contrasty. This gray kind of melts in with a overcast day. Blue sky, you might be able to see it better, but it's really hard to see or hear. So you're not bothering people as you're flying around. The other thing that I purchased, and there's an option on this is the RC2 controller. It comes in two versions. This one has the built-in display, which I wanted because I didn't want to put my phone on this and not be able to access my phone while I was flying my drone. In the version that takes the phone, there's a couple clips that come up that hold your phone right above it, and then you plug in your phone cord that comes out of this into the power port of your phone, so you can actually fly on an app that is showing on your phone. Gives you the same visual control information that you would need while flying like this one does, but just a personal preference. And this has definitely been a nice way to fly it, having my phone as a separate item. And then the combo pack had this battery holder, and what this is a way to charge these in a group. So you can put all the batteries. I get 3 batteries came with this. You can drop those all in here, plug in your USB-C port to a power supply, just walk away, and it'll charge them one by one. And when they're done, they all light up green, and then the lights go out. So nice handy way when you're done flying. And then, as I said, I've got 3 batteries here. Very small. They plug into the back end of the drone. You can see this one's already got one in it, but that's basically this battery just slides in there and snaps into place. So very easy to replace when you need to. Now, since then, I've bought a few other things. I bought extended life batteries, which give you about an extra 10 or 15 minutes on the battery. I should note they are they're heavier than the normal batteries, so if you use one, it goes over the 250 gram limit of these drones if you do not have a license. If you're a recreational flyer, you're not supposed to be over 250 grams. So the extended flight batteries would put you over, and even another reason to go get your license. So that's what you got out of what do we have out of there. So I bought 2 extra extended life batteries along with the packet that I got from DJI. Now this case, a little extra feature, there's a couple handles here that you take this out, and there's even more storage space down here. And that's where I put a few key essentials. I've got some short USB-C cables. And then I purchased this Anchor 3-port charging device. You can see here the charging device. It's got 2 USB-C and a 3rd USB port, so I can charge both my controller and the batteries at the same time, even from the back of my car if I have a 12-volt outlet in the car. So this can sit in the under level of the case. I put this in one of these slots here. This envelope, I would encourage you to do the same thing when you get your certification, or even if you don't have your certification, your trust certificate and some of the documents that they ask you to take when you get a drone to be official with the government. When you get your license, I carry that around in my wallet. I don't have that on me right now. And it's just like a driver's license, which has your information on it. You certainly could keep it in here, but I feel better having it in my wallet. So if I'm out flying and someone would approach me, I can pull that out and show them. If we go back to the car, I've got the other documentation. And I put that in an envelope in the bottom of this case. And the final thing I put in here is a landing pad. And you're saying, okay, well, that's going overboard a little bit. But what this is good for is for flying out of places that doesn't have a hard surface, like a cement driveway or asphalt. If you're taking off from an area that has grass, or it might be a gravel road or just plain dirt. One of the things they say is good for your drone is to protect it from dust and anything's flying or hitting the blades with grass as it's landing or taking off. So the easiest way to take care of that is buy one of these pads. I guess the easiest way would be to fly, take off and land from a hard packed surface somewhere, but who knows where you're going to go when you're traveling with your drone. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to put this back in here and I'm going to open up the drone. A little bit about this drone. There's a protective snap-on plastic cover here. You can see that pops over the eyeballs here, I call them, and this is the camera slash gimbal that floats around and goes up and down, left and right. And so when the drone is moving back and forth, this gimbal will keep the camera level. So you don't even know that the drone is tipping, pitching, yawing, all the aeronautical terms there, because the drone camera stays relative to the horizon. And it's really cool. You'll see from the videos that when you're flying, you don't know that the drone is trying to battle the wind or tilting to go right or left. It does a great job. Now in the wind, you'll notice it a little bit more, but it is amazing what that can do. So that protects that portion of it. The other thing I was going to point out is the reason I mentioned earlier I got this drone is it has proximity sensors. These eyeballs, I call them, are 2 that are shooting forward. On the bottom, there's 2 shooting downward. And then there's 2 here that are angled on the side. I don't know if you can see those. Those protect you to the side as you're moving left and right on the drone. So as an example, if you're flying through some woods and you have branches with trees hanging down, these things will detect those and will help you automatically avoid them. It basically avoids things that it sees based on these sensors. So another reason to buy one of these is that you're now being able to protect yourself from stupid moves with your joysticks by this thing preventing you from running into things. So that's what those dots are on here. There's 2 pointing off to the sides, 2 facing forward, and 2 pointing down. I should note the side ones also kind of shoot up, so you've got some vertical protection. And the last thing here is this strap that goes around the drone, and they basically hold the arms and the blades in place, protect them. So there's a button on the side here, you just pop out, and then you just take that thing off. As simple as that, and it kind of positions on the bottom with these 2 legs. So it took me a while to figure out how to position that correctly to get it to hold in place, but after a while you figure out those little legs have to go in these little slots. So how do you open this up? Well, the 2 bottom arms that come out kind of rotate from the body and out. These are the front arms and legs, and they go out like that. So those are the forward-facing ones, and the other two remaining just pull out from the side of the drone and lock into place in the back. So there you have it. Not very big, is it? Pretty compact, pretty easy to store and unstore. And like I said, if you're hiking, you could even throw it in a backpack with these devices on there. I throw it in another bag just to keep it from bumping other things. But you could take this when you're out hiking on trails, or if you're not going to be by your car and you don't want to carry this case, you just put both of these devices in there along with your batteries and you're good to go. Okay, now to set up the controller, that's even more simple. There's only two things you have to do here. These two devices up here are the antennas, so you rotate them to vertical like that, and then you pop them to a detent in the back and they're ready to go. The other thing that you have to do to set this up is you notice the two joystick spots here. There's little pegs that allow you to hold on to them. I don't know if you can see this, very small here. They basically screw into the stem sticking out of these two black circles here, and I'll do that. I recommend you do this over a hard surface. If you're doing it over grass and you drop one, you'll have a heck of a time finding it. So there you go, the control's ready to go. And I'll just walk you through the control real quickly. In the center is the on-off button. And to start the thing and shut it down, you push it once, let go, and push it again and hold down until the lights all come on to either start it or stop it. To the center, there's three switches. I don't know if you can see that very well. There's a C, an N, and an S. The C stands for cinematic, and what that does is it slows down the total or the top speed of the drone, plus it kind of softens the turns and up and downs of the drone as well as the camera to make it a little smoother as you're videotaping or taking pictures. Normal is kind of a good compromise. It's got probably up to 30 miles an hour horizontal speed that you can go, but it allows you to do some more motions without having to be so slow that it gets a little frustrating. And then there's sport mode, and I've only run that a couple times, and I don't even know how fast it goes, but you could probably get up to 40 miles an hour. I will say that some things don't work. I believe the sensors don't work when you go in sport mode, so it's something to consider. But if you're trying to get a picture flying across the field or somewhere where you want to demonstrate fastness, you'd want to put it on the sport mode. So those are the things in the center. On the top here, there's a place for little lights, and those are showing you the battery life. 4 bars means, or 4 lights means you're full, and they'll work it down to getting low. There's a little light to say that's on. There's also a display on, or a digital display showing on this display screen, showing you approximate minutes left of flight time. So you'll get also a warning before you're getting to the point where it can't get back to where you are. So it'll say time to return home. So again, it's pretty user-friendly to help novices like me know when it's time to get out of the air. The left here, this joystick is for up, down. You go up this way, it raises it in height, lowers it in height. And left, it means it rotates the drone to the left, and right means it rotates the drone to the right. I point these out because when we're flying, you'll see the screen, but you won't see me operating the controls. So if I'm going up, down, I'm using this to go up and down. If I'm rotating to the left or right, I use that to the left and that to the right. The other side, when you go up, that's moving forward. You pull it down, that's moving backwards. Drone backing up, if you will. If you go to the left, the drone's, you don't see it in the picture, but the drone's tilting to the left and starting to turn to the left. It's still pointing forward, but it's angling itself to the left. If you go like that, it'll really start turning you to 90, 180. You can do a complete circle that way with the camera still pointing forward. And then if you do it to the right, the drone will start angling off to the right. Same thing backwards. If you're going backwards and you go to the left, the drone will start backing up over this way. If you do it down to the right, it'll come back and go this way. So as you can imagine, trying to do turns and going up and down and tilting the camera down or up and over here zooming in and out takes a lot of practice. And that's why, as I mentioned earlier, having built-in features that will do some of these things automatically for you makes learning on this drone a lot easier. I will say I've gotten better. I can do a lot of things now using both joysticks while I'm videotaping or taking pictures. But if you want the truly good quality images of circling around something or backing away from something as it's rising, I'll show you in another video how those will help you. Okay, so what else is on this control? There's a couple buttons at the top here. There's one here, it's an orange button. That's to start your recording of a video. And if you want to take a picture, there's a button over here that you press to take a picture. So when you're holding this, you just do this or this, depending on what you want to do. I will say that you can customize these buttons. And you'll see on the back, we'll talk about those. In the settings, you can make these buttons do different things. So if you want to do a cruise control or something, you could switch it to one of these buttons. It gives you a lot of functionality on how you set up your controller to meet your needs. Okay, so on the back, there's some more buttons for you. Well, let's start on the top here. There's a little roller wheel here, and that's the roller wheel. One way makes the little camera go up. You roll it the other way, it makes the camera go down. So as you're flying and you want to pan down on something on the ground, you just basically move your finger to this rolling wheel, and then you just move the rolling wheel to meet your needs on the view of the camera. The other side is for zoom. And so you push it like that to this way, it goes zooming in on what you're looking at. It's got great quality zooming in. So you can be up 200 feet, but still zoom in and see very well. Or you pull back on the wheel and it'll zoom it back out. So like I said, if you're really good with a couple fingers on the joysticks and you got a couple other fingers on these, you can be flying and rotating and climbing and tilting down and zooming in on things all at the same time. Pretty amazing for just this little device. And so the final thing I'll mention on this thing is, and again, another feature that helps you as a new drone pilot is when you let go of the joysticks, that drone stops right where it's at. So if you're flying along and all of a sudden you see something you're coming close to and you want to stop, take your fingers off the joystick and it stops right there. So another safety feature for novices, if all of a sudden you panic for whatever reason, you just take your fingers off the controls, you stop a second, look at the drone up in the sky, see what you got on the screen and decide what you want to do. As I mentioned, the cheapo ones for 50 bucks, you've got to be doing things with those controls to really make sure you don't let go of them and then the thing just take off in one direction. So another feature of having a device like the DJI Mini 4 Pro is it's got a lot of built-in features that make it easier for you to learn how to fly. So there's the package right there. Quite a bit of stuff here, but it's a real neat package. There are lesser packages that you can buy. You can get just the drone with one battery. They have different versions of DJI drones that are about this size. There's the Mini 3 Pro that I think they still sell. They have Mavics. They have all sorts of bigger ones that are over the 250 gram limit. But in my mind, based on my almost a year's experience, this was the ideal setup for me to have learning to fly a drone as my bucket list item. Okay, I'm going to button this all back up and we're going to get ready to go out and do some drone flying for your first flight. I've loaded up my drone and I brought it out here. It's a bright early morning in Iowa, March 28th. Doing it early, a couple reasons. Best shots are at sunrise and sunset, but also because it's supposed to be really windy today and even get into the 60s, if you can believe that, for Iowa. So I'm out here at the Cedar Valley Soccer Complex in Waterloo, Iowa. I thought it'd be a great place to demonstrate how to fly the drone and maybe get some good pictures on the way. So let me get the equipment out and we'll get going. Okay, I opened up the package here. You can see my case down here. The drone here. I've got my landing pad here. and I've got the controller. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set out the landing pad. So hopefully you can see this, not too far away from where the vehicle is going to be, so I'll be able to watch it very easily. And now I've got the remote control. As we did before, we'll open up the antennas, take the little joysticks off the back of the controller, put them on the joystick controls. There we go, and then I'm going to start it up so it can get acclimated and set up. So I push it once, release, push it again, and there, hopefully you heard the tone. Let that start up. Now I've got my drone here, and like before, we'll take the gimbal cover off and then remove the arm and prop protector device. Flip it over on its back. I'm going to fold up one arm here, fold up the other arm, and I rotate it around, get both of the back two arms and blades out, and there we go, we're ready on that one. And so what I'll do is I'll do the same thing, one quick press and then hold down on the second press. There you go, you can see the red light or green lights are lit, and the noise it sets, it's starting to boot up, and we'll set that on the landing pad here. I'm going to move this landing pad back a little bit. See how that looks in the camera so we can make sure we can get that view. Looks pretty good. I'm going to rotate my camera up a little bit. Hopefully the sun won't blind that too bad. And now I'm going to set up my remote or my controller to start the recorder. And hopefully you'll be able to see this. You heard the chime. Let me talk about the controller here a little bit. Let me move back here so you can, hopefully you can see me okay. Let's talk about what's on the screen. Across the top, the N mode means I'm in normal. To the right of that, it says takeoff permitted, and basically there are zones that you can't fly in, and if I were in a zone that you can't fly, that would notify me I can't. You move over to the right a little farther, it has 100% and 0, 0, 0, 0. That will show me how much time I have left on my battery of the drone. A little farther to the right, you can see the stepping bars, and that's the signal from the remote control to the drone. So as it gets farther away from me, that will start decreasing and give me an audible warning saying I need to stop because I'm losing control. The next one, that's the home pad icon. And then to the right of that, which is pretty important, is the satellites. Now this is showing 27 satellites that it's connected to, so it should get a good satellite signal to the home point so it can return to where it's going to take off. Down the left, there's some icons there. The only one we're going to worry about now is the circle with the up arrow. That's the takeoff button. If you go across the middle to the right, you see the white buttons. The top one here, I'll click on that. That allows me to toggle between photo and video, as well as some canned procedures that you can run that automatically flies the drone for you. Below that is, I'm going to click on first the video button here. And now you can see the button to the right of that box is red. That's the start-stop button. And then below it is showing it's going to be a video. The other things we won't talk about now, so I'll just click off of that. And at the bottom left, that is, I call it a Google map, which helps see landmarks as I'm flying, for example, roads and things like that. So it gives me a base on where the drone is so I can understand where I should and shouldn't fly. At the bottom, you see the first row is how high the drone is. The bottom one is, excuse me, that's, and to the right of that, it shows miles per hour. So it'll show how fast it's climbing or coming down. The bottom row is the horizontal distance I am from where the landing pad is, and also the speed that I'm going in terms of left and right. And then over to the right, it shows some more information about my storage card, how much time is left on it. The other buttons here, it shows I'm at 1080p. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to move that up to 4K. So we're going to record in 4K and 60 frames per second. And then over to the right, there's a little camera, and that's set on auto, so it's going to adjust the lighting. Click on that again. It shows some of the settings here across the bottom. I'm just going to leave those as auto. And there you go. You know what the control is, and I'm not going to be able to show you my fingers moving on the joysticks very easily, but I'll tell you as I make motion so you'll know what'll happen. So if you're ready to get going, let's take this drone off. So what I want to do is over on the left side, you see the circle with the up arrow. I touch that, and this box opens up. It says takeoff, and what I do is I hold on that until it circles the box.
Home point updated.
And there you can see the drone hovering. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk through a couple things here. If I move the joystick to the left, you can see that the drone rotates to the left. Go all the way around. If I go to the right, it just reverses that. And the more I push on the joystick, the faster it goes. Okay, now on the right joystick, if I push back or down, it moves back. And if I push forward, it goes forward. So remember, that joystick will allow me to control the direction that the drone is flying and the speed. If I go up on the joystick, oh, excuse me, I got that a little backwards. So I go up on the joystick, it comes forward. If I go backwards, it goes backwards. If I go to the left, it goes to the left. If I go to the right, it goes to the right. So those are the basic motions of that joystick. So I'm going to rotate it now. We're going to spin it all the way around. And so now you see it's facing the complex. I'm going to tilt the gimbal down a little bit so the sun isn't quite as bad. And now I'm going to raise the left joystick up, and we're going to go all the way up to 400 feet. And as it's going up, I'm going to rotate the gimbal down a little bit so we're getting a picture of the complex. And you note at the bottom, the feet I'm up at about 160 now, still climbing. And I'm going 11 miles an hour going up. We're getting close to the 400 maximum.
Max altitude reached.
And hopefully you can hear that, maximum altitude reached. And there you can see the Cedar Valley Soccer Complex. I'll kind of pan around here. And over to the right here is Highway 20, that's east-west highway. Spin a little bit farther. What you see here is the John Deere Engine Works. By the way, I'm standing on the site of what used to be the John Deere Supervisors Club, which is no longer in existence, so it's an empty parking lot. We'll keep spinning around here. And then if you look off in the distance, I'm going to raise this up a little bit. Zoom in on this. Not doing too good on the controls. That facility over there is the John Deere Product Engineering Center. And the only reason I point that out is that's where I worked for 33 years as a engineering and IT person there, retiring in 2007. So a great career there, and I'm very proud of being able to work there. Okay, so we're back over here. Let's get back to the soccer complex. And I'm going to zoom back out again, so we'll get rid of some of this fog. Tilt down a little bit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fly forward on this, and we're going to do it full throttle and just show you how fast this can go. I'm moving my right joystick up to the top, and it's moving forward. If you look at the bottom, it's saying I'm going 26 miles an hour. I'm going to drop down a little bit so we get a little bit closer view of the soccer complex. I'm dropping down. I'm going to rotate up the gimbal a little bit. And I'm doing is following a creek that runs down the center of the complex. And off in the distance there, Again, giving you a geography lesson here, as this is, they call it the green belt, which runs in there. That's Blackhawk Creek, and we're going to try to fly over there and keep an eye on the bars at the top where it says remote RC, and we'll see if the signal starts weakening. It's probably 3/4 of a mile to maybe a mile over. Well, we'll look at the bottom there. We've gone out 2,100 feet right now. I'm going to tilt this down a little bit more. And now you can see the creek is starting to come into view here. We'll get over the top and look at the map down below here. You'll be able to see us. I think it'll show the creek as we go across it. Okay, we're entering the green belt there. And there you go. There's the creek. We'll stop right there. Now I'm going to rotate the gimbal down to 90 degrees. There's a bar over here on the right that says minus 73 degrees. I'll go down a little bit farther. So I'm going to rotate this a little bit here. We'll go this way and you'll be able to see the creek. There you go. So now I'm going to rotate this back. We'll get the gimbal back up again. I'm going to rotate this back around again. I'm using the left joystick, rotating left. And I flew down here for a purpose. I got the sun at my back now, and it'll make things a little bit easier to see. Go up a little bit more here and rotate that up. So there you go. You see the soccer complex. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit the, make sure it's on video mode. And I'm going to hit the red button to start recording. You heard the ding, so we're recording. So I the right joystick, I push forward, so we're going forward. I'm going to rotate down a little bit here and fly down low over these soccer fields. And I'm using my, I'm going to go to the right with my left joystick. See the parking lot up here. Come back to the right with the left joystick, or excuse me, to the left with the left joystick. I'm going to go up a little bit because there's some lights there that I don't want to hit. And we're going to fly over here to the main soccer field. I'm going to rotate around here and I'm going to stop, see where we're at here. I'm going to go down, rotate. I'm sliding the right joystick to the right, kind of sidewalk to the right. You see the scoreboard down there, so I'm going to go down there, get close to that, and show you something. One of the CAN features that the drone comes with. Okay, so I'm going to lower down now. Move my gimbal up a little bit. Move it a little closer on this. Down a little bit more. Okay, now as before, I mentioned there were some CAN programs. If I click over on the right here, I'm going to shut off the, well, let's just try clicking on the bar here. I guess we got to shut off the record. Now click on that little piece of film tape at the top there. And on video, we slide this down to quick shots. And these are the different things. There's droney, rocket, circle, helix, and boomerang. We're going to do the droney. I'm going to close out this one window here. And I'm going to move in a little bit closer again and down a little bit. So I've hit, you can see the droney icon is yellow. And at the bottom there, it says tap on the plus or draw a box around the subject. We're going to draw a box holding my thumb down on the screen here. And so that becomes the focus of this droney. and see the box that says distance 80 feet. See if I can click on that. Unfortunately, my recording icon is down there, so we're just going to leave that. And so what this is going to do is it's going to go back and up, and that is a droning. So let's hit the start button on the right.
3, 2, 1.
And now you can see that this is moving back. It's recording this, and it's moving back and up, which is kind of a neat shot. It's staying focused on the scoreboard, but it's letting you see the surroundings around the scoreboard. And under that button is, now it says the quick shot is complete, so it's going to return to that spot. Okay, it's returned there. So now we'll click back on that droney icon right above the green button. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do the circle. And I'm going to raise up again, so I don't want to, I'm going to see where those towers are for the lights. Pretty close to them, so I want to get up above those. Go back and look at the scoreboard again. Pan down with the scroll wheel on the left side. I'm going to move back a little bit just so we're not so close to that, so you can kind of see it. Okay, so again, I've got the circle program set up. Again, it's asking to draw a box around what I want to circle around, so I'll draw it around that scoreboard again. And it goes, you can see it goes to the right. And if I touch that gray arrow circle at the bottom, you can switch it over to the left. We'll go to the left. And if I slide that arrow, I can't do it with that stop button below for my camera record. So it's going to rotate around that 360. So let's hit the start button and see what happens.
3, 2, 1.
And so this can be a very neat feature if you're in some site where you have an attraction that you want to record. Rather than you trying to rotate to the left with your right joystick and then push to the right with your left joystick to keep focused on that scoreboard, it does it all for you. Another reason I bought this particular drone, to give us novices something to do. And you see we're spinning around it. You can kind of see it now. If I touch any of the joysticks, it will stop that. So we'll let it go until it's finished. There you go. We got the droney taken of that, so I'm going to raise this back up. Slide over towards, move this a little bit to the left. I see the concession stand over there. So I'm going to try something here. I'm going to try dragging my finger across that. See if it'll work. Nope, we got to get back out of that. Let's go back to video here. Let's try that again. I'm going to drag around that. And see at the bottom here, it says active track, spotlight, and point of interest. I'm going to click on point of interest if I can. Well, again, I got that. Well, I can't do that, but if you click on that, it will keep that point of interest in the view of the camera centered wherever direction I go with the drone. Since I've got my screen record on, I can't push that. It gets underneath that. So I'm just going to fly towards that. I'm going to hit the record button. And this is just me flying now. Again, I'm kind of watching out for these lamp posts. I'm going to come down. I'm flying down towards it here. See if I can rotate. I'm going to So this is me left on my right joystick and right on my left joystick. Not doing too bad. And now I'm going to my left one I'm going to raise up and still go with my right joystick push to the left and my left joystick up and to the right. And I'm going to try hitting my gimbal to raise up here. Tilt the camera up a little bit more. Now there you go, we'll hit stop on the record button here. So just for point of reference, that always has me shaking a little bit. So if if it looks like I'm shaking, that's why. I always worry about doing something wrong. So I'm going to rotate this up a little bit and to see where we're at. We're going to go way up here now.
Max altitude reached.
So we're up at 400 feet again, and we're trying to look down there. And so I'm going to switch over one more thing. We're going to click on photo. First, let me go down here and hit quick shots. And one other thing I'm going to do here is, I'll get that gimbal back up here. I'm going to go to what's called pano down at the bottom right here. And there's sphere, 180, wide angle, and vertical. I'm going to do the sphere. This will be kind of hard to show the final result, but I'll put a link to where you can see it. It basically takes a 360-degree image of what you're seeing right now. So I click the start button. And you notice under the number, or the red dot, there's a number. That's how much of the percentage it's done. And you can see the gimbal rotating around in a specified pattern and taking a series of photos. And as I said, this will give us a 360-degree interactive view of this scene. Unfortunately, it can only be seen in interactive mode, either on Google Photos or on a Facebook post. So I'll post it to Google Photos and then put a link in the description so you can go see what this is like. On a phone, you use your fingers to pan and zoom. If you're on a PC, you use your mouse and scroll wheel to zoom in and out and rotate. It's really cool if you want to see the entire surrounding. And there you go, it's at 50%. All the pictures have been taken, and now the controller is processing the data. All right, so it's time to return home. Now, if you look in the middle of the screen, about middle center on the upper half, you see the yellow H. That is my home point. That's where we are. Let's see if I can zoom in on that a little bit. Okay, now we can zoom. Guess we can get back out of that mode. We'll go back to photo here. Okay, so let's see if I can zoom in on that. Rotate up a little bit. There we are, way over there. That black dot is my vehicle and the H is the landing pad. So how do you land? Well, back over on the left side of the controller, you see the circle with the H in it and a down arrow. That's the return to home function. If I press that, it'll automatically fly back and land for me. So we're going to do that. Push that. And I can land where the drone is, which we don't want to do that, or I can say return to home. So like starting up, I hold that button down.
Return to home.
And you can see it's got a flight path marked in green. So it's flying. It's got to go 1,650 feet back to where we're at. It's going about 18 miles an hour. Doesn't look like we're moving at all, but it's moving pretty good. You notice a strong wind warning. The winds are picking up, and that's part of the reason I'm out here early, but the drone is getting us back. So we're under 1,000 feet now, and once it gets directly over us, it will flip the gimbal down so the camera's looking at the ground, and then it will start lowering and trying to land on the landing pad that we set out before we took off. And again, we're at 320 feet right now in the air. We're coming down, we're at 260. And we're only 100 feet away from the landing pad horizontally. Okay, now it's looking down and you can see the orange landing pad there. And hopefully the camera on my vehicle can pick that up coming down. It's kind of looking in the sun, so it might be kind of hard. Here, I'm going to grab the camera and see if we can record this. It's missing the pad. And there you go. You can see the drone has shut off. So let me go carry this back over to my vehicle here. Tilt this down a little bit. And go over and get the drone. Carry that back over here. Set those both there. Let me get the landing pad. I'm going to take the landing pad and we're going to get that folded up first. Set that right there. Now, if you recall, to shut the drone off, you press once and then press a second time and hold down until all the lights go off. Okay, that one's shut off. And you do the same thing with the remote control. The first thing I want to do is stop my recording. That's shut off, and you just shut this down, same thing. I press the power button once and then press it again and hold it down, and you heard that sound and you shut it off. So there you have it. I'm going to pack this up, to do it real quick, fold the antennas back in like that, take these little joysticks off of the controllers. I'm going to set that back in my case here. I'm going to put the gimbal and sensor protector on there. Flip the drone over, rotate that back, and position the blades in between the two little legs on the drone. Fold the sides in, the back arms, and then take this strap, and these little knobs here go over the two landing pad knobs on the drone. That's how I know how to do it. Flip it over and then make sure the upper blades are in between the little knob on the strap, and then go push the button into the side. Make sure we got that all in position here. Snap that in place, put that back in the case. Take this off, take my power cords out and my info to put the landing pad back in the bottom of my case. Set those back in there. Pick this up, set that back in there. Lock up the case, and there you have it. A successful flight. We didn't crash into anything. You were able to see generally how easy it is to fly and what it looks like to fly. It's a pretty neat experience. I hope you enjoyed this video. As I mentioned, I only did a few of the functions. It was more to show you how simple it is to set up, to maneuver, to take off, to maneuver, to land, and to put it away. Pretty fast, easy to do once you get the hang of it. What I'd like to do in future videos is show you some of the more of the features like I showed you with the droney and the pano shot, and allow you to understand just what the capability is of the DJI Mini 4 Pro, and maybe convince you to even buy one for your own. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel, RS Tech ALO, and I'll have some more videos for you on drones and on tech things, being it iPads, iPhones, PCs, and even home tech tips for around the house.